Can you hear me? Fucking hell, we've become the kind of assholes who stand out protesting with megaphones. Look at this.
What have you done? I was on YouTube one moment, look what we are now.
I know, right? And the thing is, I've got a speech that's pretty fucking serious as well, unfortunately.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, right?
So, St. George's Day has come and gone, and we have a new royal edition. Now that's fucking based. And also a few things happened that I predicted a while ago now. This man got a small fine, and not a jail sentence. And this man mobilised his basement dwellers and took to the streets. Huzzah! It really has just been absolute nectar watching all of this play out. How they've all become eternal victims, how they've all turned into the Anita Sarkeesians that they built their so-called careers attempting to discredit. At this point, Anita looks dignified, reserved, and beyond a no doubt, the liberalists and the men leading them were fully aware that, for all of their protestations, it was never going to amount to anything more than a fine. But it suited their narrative to paint the worst-case scenario of a lifetime imprisonment being the case. It was a false narrative for them to peddle, and in doing so, they managed to raise their profile with those on the alt-light. And while this made them the butt of everyone's jokes on the rest of the internet, it also made them completely toxic in the mainstream media's eyes. But at least they've got their Patreons, right? Yeah, sure. Good luck with that, chaps. Kekistani flags. Have they no shame? Seriously, look at how pathetic this rally is. I mean, just look at the idiocy of protesting the right for freedom of speech by taping your mouth shut. Instead of making as much noise as they possibly could and really turning the head of the man on the street, they silently did a silly walk down a side street in London. I think it says it all when 88% of them look like they should be working behind the counter at CEX. And you can also say many things about the left, but I mean, they can put on a better rally than this. Surely to God. Anyway, we join the Liberalist March and we meet a fellow you may be already familiar with.
My name is Ben Brown and I am responsible for university operations at Liberalist UK. I'm here because I believe what has happened to Dankula is merely a symptom.
So this is Ben, and trust me, you've met Ben before.
So there's some sort of weird speech going on.
For those who don't know me already, my name is Ben, I'm on the Liberalist UK page. I'll dox myself already, so Antifa fucking can't.
This is Ben, who has desperately been trying to spin a pseudo-political career out of liberalistism ever since it was announced in the wake of Spencer's victory. So much is his desperation that you'll see him anywhere these liberalists congregate. He's even more omniscient at these events than even myself, good lord. But the tragic thing is that, for all of Ben's deference to his stepfather, he never really seems to make much of an impact.
My name is Ben Brown and I am responsible for university operations at Liberalist UK. I'm here because I believe what has happened to Dankula is merely a symptom.
Ben reveals his role here. He's the man in charge of booking Sargon into university appearances. How embarrassing. He's LARPing as a political spin doctor, when in actual fact he's an unpaid intern working as Sargon's talent agent. Just look at these people, by the way. The Liberalist Beer Hall Putsch video that I made almost looks like I was at the Playboy Mansion when you compare it to the people on offer here. It looks like the Reddit version of Chernobyl. And I've even managed to secure some exclusive images of the Liberalist rally's after party. The only one I actually respect, and I'll say this on the record, is this chap. He, alongside Ben, organises these Sargon birthday parties, and is chief moderator of the Liberalist Facebook group. I spoke to this fellow for about half an hour or so at the Liberalist Beer Hall Perch, and while I didn't really agree with him at all, I thought he at least put in the effort. He's the only one that I see at these events who at least wears a suit, who at least shows a modicum of self-awareness. When I spoke to him, he was definitely able to recognise that it was all a bit of a lark. But I fear that he's becoming swept away in this stupidity, and it's really going to damage him. If he's not careful, a year or so, when this is all completely over, and Sargon's gone back to making videos about the feminist system, people like him, people like Ben, don't really care about Ben, but people like him and people like Ben, who are attempting to raise their profile on the back of liberalism, are going to be seen by the general public as A, LARPing extremists in line with the evil Nazi Tommy Robinson, and B, unemployable. Because what they're doing here is raising their profile within something that's desperately trying to penetrate the mainstream media. That's what the Antifa thing was. That's what the Dankula thing is. And they've not really recognised that their leaders, their idols, are people who have actually failed in reality and have had to retreat. They've had to secure themselves away within the internet to find just a slight modicum of respect.
Right, so there is a question on everyone's lips. This question is so controversial that just asking it is to brand yourself an outsider, a dissident, and a rogue. The question is about one of the most controversial speeches ever given in this country. It's a question with implications so grave that some consider it a monstrous thing even to think about. The question... But this isn't fucking funny, is it? You know?
It's no joke.
This should not be happening. Why the fuck are we criminalising a comedian? I can't, this is just so the volume.
So I say turn on to 11.
Goddamn people who are all staring at me, so go easy.
No pressure.
Right. Absolutely, yes. Fuck yes. Yeah, you don't bring anything near here when you come over going, oh, well, I have something different. Yeah, we know. These pensions synthesize themselves into a British creed that all identities, all beliefs are permissible, and it is the harm that is punishable, and that harm can only be done by action and not by words.
Actions speak louder than words.
This is guaranteed to get flagged, but I no longer care. The moment this video gets removed, I want all of you archivers out there to honour my request and just mirror this. Just do your best to preserve whatever this is.